Hey everyone, so if you've ever dived into Horizon Walker, you know it's basically two games in one. On one hand, you've got this squad-based tactical combat that really makes you think about your moves, team composition, and who's actually worth investing your resources in. And then, there's the dating sim side, where you're out here trying to win the hearts of your Vanguards. Honestly, I can't help you decide which character to romance, but when it comes to kicking butt in combat, that's my territory. Today, we're breaking down the best characters for the tactical battles. Whether you're aiming for an unstoppable squad, trying to climb the leaderboards, or just want to know who can carry your team without making you cry, this Horizon Walker character tier list has got you covered. We'll talk about the top picks, some hidden gems, and maybe even a few characters that you'd think are strong but aren't. So grab your gear, squad up, and let's dive into the best of the best. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking main characters in Horizon Walker. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The main characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Platina, Headless Knight, and Matrofo. You know those characters that make you go, meh, I guess they exist for a reason, but not really my reason? Yeah, we are diving into the C tier today, the ones that are not exactly worth the hype. Let's start with Platina. Now, Platina is special because you actually unlock her just by playing through the story, which is nice and all, but here's the catch, she cannot receive a weakness attack, which sounds cool, right? The problem is, while she can protect your team decently, her damage is sadly lacking even for a tank, and honestly there are so many other characters who do her job better. So, if you're picking Platina thinking you'll crush enemies effortlessly, don't get your hopes up. Next up, we have Headless Knight. This one is a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, he does decent damage to multiple enemies and has some sweet passive self buffs, which can make him feel like a mini powerhouse. On the other hand, his abilities come with long cooldowns, and yes, you can reduce these cooldowns by consistently killing enemies, but let's be real, how fun is that grind when there are flashier options out there? Headless Knight is like that reliable friend who's kind of cool, but takes forever to get ready. Then there's Matrofo, who honestly has some flair. Her maneuverability around the battlefield is top notch, and her unique counterattack replacement, which boosts her evasion, makes her a little tricky to hit. You could say she's like a ninja with a bit of style, but here's the unfortunate twist. Her damage starts off weak, and even though it ramps up later, it takes a while to actually feel powerful. Plus, she's outclassed by a lot of lower rarity units, which is a real bummer for anyone hoping she'd be a late game star. So why even bother with these C tier Vanguards? Well, sometimes it's just about the challenge or a love for underdogs. Platina might not hit hard, but she's solid if you just want a tank who won't die immediately. Headless Knight has his moments if you can patiently work around his long cooldowns. And Matrofo, she's fun to move around the battlefield and dodge attacks like a pro, even if her punch isn't the strongest. It's kind of hilarious when you think about it. These characters exist, they have some unique perks, but in the grand scheme of things, they're like background actors in your main squad's blockbuster. They aren't terrible, but they aren't making the trailer either. Honestly, sometimes you just pick them because you like their look, their theme, or you're feeling nostalgic about unlocking them through the story. At the end of the day, C-tier Vanguards are like that friend who's okay at everything but excels at nothing spectacularly. You can make them work if you put in the effort, but let's not pretend they're going to carry your team to victory solo. They're fun, quirky, and sometimes frustrating, but that's kind of the charm. And hey, every tier list needs a few underdogs to keep things interesting, right? The main characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Valletta, Yui, Leo, Yeonwoo, TX, Manticore, Burger, Nika, Marhim, Efriti, Nari, and Kalina. You know those Vanguards that aren't top tier, but when used in the right squad, they can actually make you feel like a genius strategist. Welcome to B tier, strong if you know how to play your cards right. Let's kick things off with Valletta. She's basically the ultimate self-sustaining healer who also helps keep your teammates alive. Every time she lands a successful attack, she buffs herself, which feels super satisfying. The only downside, at the start of the fight, her damage is kinda meh until she stacks up her buffs. But once she gets rolling, she can be a serious game changer. Moving on to Yui. Yui is all about summoning extra units called bullet battalions. She buffs them during battle, which can make your field feel crowded in the best possible way. And don't even get me started on her anarchic barrage, area of effect damage for days. The tricky part? Setting up her summons against enemies that specialize in AoE attacks can be a nightmare, so timing is everything. Leah is next, and she's your go-to for single target buffs and debuff removal. She can dish out some serious damage with the right setup. The catch? To truly unleash her potential, you need to build up her evasion to the required amount. And let's be honest, that setup can be a little fiddly if you're not paying attention. But the payoff is worth it. Yeonwoo is a bit of a tanky magician. Her gluttony ability gives her amazing self-sustain, making her almost impossible to take down as long as you're paying attention. She's like that friend who never quits the party. The only problem? Her damage isn't exactly spectacular compared to other units, so she's better for staying alive than wiping out mobs. TX Manticore is basically a jack of all damage types. She's fantastic against multiple enemies, and she triggers support attacks whenever allies are attacked. It's like having a reactive damage machine on your team. But here's the kicker, if you're focusing on a single enemy, her damage really falls off, so don't expect her to solo bosses like a champ. Burger is basically the embodiment of go big or go home. From the start, she dishes out insane damage, and her self buffs only make it worse for your enemies. The problem? She's very action points hungry, even to the point of stealing them from her allies. You'll need to manage her AP carefully, or risk leaving the rest of your team high and dry. Nika is all about that stealth life. She's a fantastic poison damage dealer, and her safety provided by stealth makes her feel untouchable. Long fights against high HP enemies? That's her jam, but if you're dealing with a big group of enemies, she doesn't shine quite as brightly. Patience is key here. Marhim is basically the ultimate counter. She can disable enemy counterattacks, and her stealth keeps her safe while she does it. She can also lower enemy defenses, which makes her entire kit hit harder. But she's very reliant on landing killing blows or weak point hits to activate her passives, so missing a beat can be painful. Ifriti is pure elemental chaos. She focuses on heat but also dabbles in other elemental damage, making her versatile. Her skills can hit hard in both single target and AoE situations. However, her big protective skill costs a lot of her own HP and can backfire if you're not careful. And let's be honest, Prisoner exists who can do as much or more damage while being a free-to-play unit. That one stings a bit. Nari is the definition of a redeployment specialist. She has a skill that actually gains her action points, which is super convenient. Once she sets up, she can deal pretty good damage. The downside, outside of killing enemies, her utility is basically non-existent. She's a strong hitter, but not much else. Kalina is simple, but she gets the job done. She's unlocked at the very start of the game, and she will help carry you through the story, which is great for new players. The downside, later in the game she struggles because she lacks utility and doesn't scale as well as other units. Still, for early game fun, she's solid. Valletta's healing and buffs make her feel like the backbone of a carefully crafted squad. It's like she's quietly cheering you on while keeping everyone alive, even if she doesn't get the kill shots herself. That slow start damage just means patience is rewarded, and watching her grow stronger feels incredibly satisfying. Yui, on the other hand, is all about strategic chaos. You need to think ahead and place your bullet battalions wisely. When done right, the battlefield can look like a tactical masterpiece. And landing an anarchic barrage at the perfect moment, pure joy. But make one mistake with AoE enemies, and suddenly all your work feels wasted. Leah is all about careful planning and precision. Her buffs and debuff removals are essential for tight fights. You really feel like a chess player when you finally pull off a devastating combo with her. That evasion setup, annoying at first, but man, when it clicks, she becomes a powerhouse. Yeonwoo's tankiness is almost ridiculous. She's the one who stands there soaking damage, letting you experiment with risky plays because you know she won't die easily. Just don't expect her to double as your main damage dealer. She's the guardian, not the executioner. TX Manticore is fun because she's reactive. Every time your allies get hit, she pops off, punishing the enemies. It's almost like she's taunting the opponents, saying, "Try me." But put her on a single target mission, and suddenly her shine dulls. Timing and squad synergy are everything with her. Burger feels like a hyperactive energy drink personified. She's fast, she hits hard, and she buffs herself to ridiculous levels. The AP management adds a layer of complexity. You can't just mash her abilities without thinking, which keeps gameplay interesting. Nika's stealth and poison playstyle give her a unique rhythm. She isn't just about smashing things, she's about slowly, methodically whittling down enemies while staying untouchable. Against big groups though, she's a little shy. She prefers the solo spotlight. Marhim is the sneaky tactician. Every weak point hit or kill builds her up, making you feel like a mastermind when you pull off a perfect chain of actions. But miss a step, and you feel it immediately. Her high skill ceiling makes her rewarding but tricky. Efreeti's elemental chaos is like a fireworks show. Big damage bursts, flashy AoE combos, but with a pinch of risk because of her HP cost skill. If you're careful, she's amazing. If not, well, let's just say Prisoner has a smug grin in the background. Nari's redeployment mechanics make her a utility wildcard in the right situations. She's not flashy, but once she's in position, she contributes solid damage. Think of her as a reliable supporting sniper, quiet but effective. Kalina might be simple, but simplicity has its charm. Early game, she makes life easy and you can rely on her to get through story missions. Late game, she becomes a reminder that sometimes you outgrow your first love in gaming. The main characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Griselda, Yvonne, Korobi, Vlissing, Everett, and Kalma. Alright, now we're stepping into A tier, the Vanguards that really make you feel like a genius when they're on your squad. Let's kick things off with Griselda. She's basically the queen of immaterial elemental damage. Not only does she hit hard, but she also supports her team with passive speed buffs, heals, and shields. So yeah, she's like the overachiever friend who does it all and somehow makes it look effortless. Yvonne is next, and she's all about cold elemental damage. But don't let her icy powers fool you. She's also a fantastic support attacker. She buffs allies for their support attacks and even passively increases their defense when they're attacked. Basically, she's like a tactical ice queen who's keeping everyone safe while still dealing serious damage. Korobi is your all-around powerhouse. Most of the time, she's immune to action-restricting effects, which makes her super reliable. She can reduce aggro for allies, buff them, debuff enemies, and even heal. She's basically a Swiss Army knife in Vanguard form. Everything you could want packed into one unit. Vlissing is in the same reliable and scary league. She shares Korobi's immunity to action-restricting effects, but adds incredible healing for allies while also dealing great damage to enemies. It's like she's juggling fire and bandages at the same time, and somehow she doesn't drop either. Everett is a mix of heat and immaterial damage, which makes her versatile for almost any fight. She's great for boosting ally critical chance and reducing enemy attacks. Plus, she's super mobile across the battlefield. The one downside? Her big skill, Starlight Shower, takes a whole turn to activate, which can sometimes leave her vulnerable. But if you time it right, the payoff is insane. Kalma is a blast, literally. She can give herself extra actions while buffing her own damage, making her a hurricane of electric elemental destruction. She shines when attacking multiple enemies, but her passive also boosts damage against fewer targets, so she's just as deadly when the enemy numbers dwindle. It's like she's built to never feel useless, no matter the situation. Griselda isn't just about raw power. Her combination of damage and team support makes her feel like the backbone of any A-tier squad. You can't help but admire how she balances offense and defense while staying stylishly deadly. Yvonne's cold elemental abilities are perfect for those who love tactical positioning. She makes every move count, whether she's hitting enemies or keeping your allies safe. There's something really satisfying about watching her turn the tide of battle with icy precision. Korobi is the kind of unit that makes you feel smart just for having her in your team. She handles multiple roles effortlessly, debuffing enemies, buffing allies, healing, and even controlling aggro. It's rare to find someone so versatile without feeling overpowered. Vlissing is all about consistent excellence. She heals, she attacks, she survives. She's the reliable backbone your team didn't know it needed. And unlike some flashy damage dealers, she actually feels rewarding to use turn after turn. Everett's mobility and hybrid damage types make her perfect for players who like to be aggressive but strategic at the same time. Her Starlight Shower timing is tricky, but pulling it off feels like conducting a symphony of destruction. Kalma rounds out the A tier perfectly. She's electric, unpredictable, and lethal, yet her passive ensures she's always relevant. Whether it's a huge mob or just a few tough enemies, Kalma will leave her mark, literally and figuratively. The main characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Olivia, Famine, Mahari, Yuha, and Prisoner, Korra. Now we've reached the top of the mountain, S tier, the Apex Vanguards. These are the units that make you feel like a master strategist just for having them on your team. Let's start with Olivia. She's a powerhouse, dealing massive damage to multiple targets at once. Her Ascendant effect allows her to counterattack multiple times, making her the best consistent damage dealer in the game. Sure, she can't land critical strikes, but honestly, who needs them when she's already demolishing everything in sight? Famine is basically the squad's turbo boost. She increases the speed of your whole team, which is insanely valuable. On top of that, she can protect herself and her allies while recovering their action points. Honestly, she's the best support in the game. If you have Famene, you don't even need to think twice about who else to bring. She basically makes your team automatically stronger. Mahari is your ultimate defensive attacker. She has countless ways to attract enemy aggro, letting her tank like a pro. With her high defense and self-sustain, she can stay right in the middle of the fight, keeping all the enemies focused on her while the rest of your team dishes out damage safely. She's basically the battlefield's magnet for enemy hate, in the best way possible. Yuha is perfect if you love ranged units, especially those relying on firearm-based skills. She unlocks new strategies for squad building while giving allies action points and buffs. And her combat role skill makes her an escape artist. You'll be amazed at how many tight situations she can get out of unscathed. Prisoner. Korra is an absolute beast. She deals massive heat elemental damage with a huge area of effect and leaves behind lava pools that keep damaging enemies even outside her turn. She's a free-to-play unit you get by completing the story, yet she outperforms many EX-class units. Seriously, getting her feels like winning the lottery. Olivia doesn't just deal damage, she dominates the battlefield. Watching her counterattack multiple times is almost hypnotic. You feel like a commander watching her dance through the enemies, leaving nothing standing. Famine's buffs and AP recovery make her indispensable. She doesn't just make fights easier, she fundamentally changes how your team can play. Every squad she's in suddenly feels like it has superpowers. Mahari's ability to soak up damage and control enemy aggro is priceless. You can position her in the thick of combat and trust that she'll survive, giving you the freedom to unleash your other Vanguards without worrying about them dying instantly. Yuha opens up tactical possibilities you didn't know existed. Her support for ranged units, combined with AP generation and mobility, allows for creative squad compositions that can turn even the toughest fights into manageable ones. Prisoner. Korra is the cherry on top of S tier. Free to play, insane damage, area control, and lasting effects. She brings so much value that once you have her, your squad basically levels up automatically. She's the kind of unit that makes every fight feel fair. For you, not the enemies. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.